Well, my parents were up at Ivy's, and my dad texted me, he's like, can you come over here at Ivy's? Hey, I'm going to beer. God forbid, I don't put the beer in my breath. So we all was Shelby County first, and I'm the friend.
Yeah. Comes in intoxicated all the time.
I don't need that. I'll in the hospital again. Functioning.
Functioning up. I mean, you can almost get drunk off of it.
I don't mind, having a couple beers in.
All right, good evening. I have 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call to order the April 9th Shelby County Board meeting. Please stand for allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, thank you for the opportunity you have given us this evening to guide our county and help us to make good decisions and help us to remember how blessed we are to be alive at this time. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, roll call, please.
Bay, Brown,
Here.
Carol Cole, here. Edwards,
Here.
Grant, Gregg,
Here.
Hardy,
Here.
McCormick, Matlock,
Here.
Mayhall,
Here.
Miller, here. Mitchell, Morse,
Here.
Price,
Here.
Pritchard,
Here.
Stroll,
Here.
Seifert, Tate,
Here.
Wofford, here. Wallace, Wood.
Here.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Move on to item 3, discussion of vote to approve the minutes from March 12th meeting. Got a motion on this, Ms. Miller. Ms. Matlock, any discussion or questions on the minutes from last month? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 4, public body comment. Public body comment. In the back.
Thank you, Chairman. As I've explained for years, both in this county board and others, the county code outlines an obligation that the board has to establish time during regular and special meetings for citizens and employees to ask questions. The legislative intent is to get answers. This law is not the OMA law regarding people's right to speak. It's separate, and this board in past continued to ignore it. I'd like to know why. For those that are interested, it's 55 ILCS 5/2-1001. On that point of what the law says, Ted, you've yet to answer my FOIA request regarding public business with your private email. Do you intend on answering that request or not? No comment? I and others have asked you if you did in fact provide an endorsement letter to Don Diepholz that included the county seal and use of your name as county chairman. Can you answer that simple question? Did you create that letter and send it? If not, where's the outrage that someone's creating an endorsement letter using your name? Did you create it and send it? No comment. Again, I default back to the county code about asking questions and the legislative intent. You choose to ignore the law again. The names for appointments to the Ethics Commission are the same as those appointed back in 2004. An Ethics Commission is supposed to hold hearings on ethics issues. The county had no record of statement of economic interest for those 2 individuals. Does anyone know what law outlines the requirement for filing a statement of economic interest? It's found in the State Ethics Act. How ironic that this board would now consider appointing members to an ethics commission who not only did not file the required SEI as outlined in the ethics law when they were first appointed, but also failed to comply with the most basic obligations such as OMA and FOIA training the last time they were appointed. The ethics ordinance outlines the makeup of the members of the ethics commission It is required to be 2 from one political party and 1 from another. Has anyone checked the voter status of the current members and the 2 being appointed? Anybody? Considering Gina Vonderheide, a member of the commission, according to what I was provided in my FOIA request, voted Republican in the last primary, as did the 2 named people to be appointed, it looks like you're going to have 3 Republicans on the commission rather than the required split outlined in the ordinance. Has any members of this board read the actual ethics ordinance? While the ordinance indicates an affidavit is required from the appropriate members, the appointed members on this point, the county voting record provided for these members already proved the party affiliation. In regards to OMA training, thanks to the 12 members who actually complied with the law. I was confirmed today that 12 have in fact, the other 10 have not. I'm curious why those have not, why aren't you complying with the Open Meetings Act training? It might help avoidance of further violations of OMA if you knew what the law actually was. My last point, and I wish she was here, but she's not, and I don't hear the outrage that your state's attorney is not here like we heard with the last one. Upon taking office, the state's attorney indicated she was turning the matter of a settlement payment paid to the former ASA over to the Attorney General because she believed it was not legal. Requests for such events resulted in nothing being provided to the Attorney General. My question, and the question of many citizens, some sitting on this board, what steps are being taken to recover those funds as it was alleged to be illegal? If nothing is being done, is anyone going to explain why not to the public? That's all I have. Thank you.
Public body comment?
Yes, Jay Cole. I think if Kirk has some complaints about something being done illegal, this isn't a court, this isn't the sheriff's office. I think if he has some complaints about the laws being broken, then he should file a complaint at the sheriff's office. I'm pretty sure the sheriff will be there tomorrow. I don't believe this board is to make that decision. If I had a complaint about someone and I thought they were really breaking the law, I guess that's where I'd file my complaint and get a lawyer would be at the sheriff. I don't know that maybe Kirk has permission or maybe he's supposed to be giving us legal advice, but I would question his authority. That's it.
Public body comment? Public body comment? Public body comment. Okay, move on to item 5, which is the annual presentation to the County Board of U of I Extension Services offered, as well as discussion of vote to approve the following. Item A, the annual agreement between Shelby County and the U of I Board of Trustees for the U of I Extension Office. And item B, request for continued funding from the Shelby County tax levy in the amount of $84,631, which is a 3% increase over last year. Have a motion on this item, please. Ms. Matlock. Have Jeff in the back.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Jessie Strite with Illinois Extension, County Director, and with me tonight I have Krista Hauk, who is our 4-H educator who serves our multi-county unit, which is comprised of 5 counties. And she helps give direction to our youth programming across the 5 counties and also supports our local extension office here in Shelby County with Yolanda Nation, who does the day-to-day support of our volunteers, our youth programs, and then also the workshops and of course the 4-H fair that we have every year. But I am here this evening to give you an update and share some key details about what we've done in Shelby County over this past year. I passed out a brochure that is our annual report for 2025, and some of the key highlights in there is that we've had 76 programs and served 5,613 individuals. And we've also provided food and nutrition programming, and that was previously referred to as a SNAP Ed program, and it's now no longer SNAP Ed, and we've got the food and nutrition program. But over this last year, we were able to provide 28,461 pounds of produce into the food pantries in Shelby County, as well as just over 1,200 pounds of venison, so lean protein, into the food pantries. And of course, we did our Eat, Move, Save booths at the food pantries as well, and provided cooking classes and food and nutrition education. Our health and family, which has also changed from consumer sciences to now health and family, we provided 17 sessions and served 214 individuals in our brain health programs, as well as social connections workshops that we provided. And I'm going to turn over the 4-H highlights to Krista Haug.
Yes. So 4-H, we've had 474 members. We had 109 sessions and 4,470 participants taking workshops and going into schools. So workshops continue to be very popular. We have a lot of participation with those. We've had an increase in school programming. We've introduced Welcome to the Real World, which is a workforce development. It works on honing in budgeting skills for youth. And then 4-H in this county continues to be in the top 5 in the state for membership. And then we invite you to join us at our fair this year. It's July 18th to the 22nd. And join us in celebrating our 4-H members.
And then again, tonight we respectfully ask for a 3% increase in the appropriation for the local extension office. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
There are 5 counties.
Yes, that make up our unit, yes.
Okay, do all 5 counties contribute the same amount?
No, it's not the same amount. It's based off of tax levies.
And how much of that money that you receive goes to salaries?
Oh, I do not have that figure with me right now.
I have one problem, that our budget is $82,166, and they're asking for over budget.
This is for next year.
Oh, for next year.
So this would be for our July 1st
Okay.
through June 30th, 2027.
Anything else? Okay,
Thank
thank you. Okay, seeing none, I'll take a roll call, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole, Edwards,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
Matlock,
Yes.
McCormick, Mayhall,
Yes.
Miller, Morse,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Pritchard,
Yes.
Stroll,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Wofford,
Yes.
Woods.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Move on to item 6, discussion and vote to approve the firearms authorization for Angela Durbin, Shelby County Probation Officer. Can I have a motion on this item, please? I've got Mr. Pritchard in the back, Mr. Morse in the front. I'm going to go ahead and read you a letter that was sent to me by Ms. Wade. Good evening. I wanted to let you all know that Angela Durbin has passed the ILETSB mandatory firearms course, which is 40 hours. I have attached a copy of her certificate. I've also attached a signature form that allows her to carry in Shelby County. This was the final requirement for Angela to carry a firearm. I have in her file her officer appointment copy of her FOID card, request to carry, acknowledgement and signature of understanding of the weapons policy, her psychological examination, physician's report, and now her training requirements. The resident circuit judge and chief judge of the 4th Judicial Circuit have already signed and approved her request to carry a firearm. I respectfully request that the county board chair provide the final signature authorizing Ms. Durbin to carry a firearm, signed Heather Wade, chief managing officer. Any questions, comments, discussion on this? And I do have to get my certificate. I got the rest of the paperwork here. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Move on to item 7, which is discussion and vote to approve the fiscal year 27 section of the 5311 DOAP Transportation Ordinance. It would be resolution authorizing the board chair to apply for 5311 grant funds, the amount of $453,953, DOAP grant funds of $2,239,263. Have a motion on this, please, Ms. Miller in front. A second, Ms. Wood. Do you have anything to add this evening?
I I don't. I just want to thank everybody for continuing to be so supportive toward public transportation. I think that's our main goal, is to continue to build public transportation. It's been an interesting start, and thank you all for being so patient with me while we get all this approved and going. And I'm very excited because we actually got a little bit more funding this year than we had in the past. So that's very positive for our program.
Good, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Brown.
Yes.
Cole. Edwards.
Yes.
Hardy.
Yes.
Gregg.
Yes.
Matlock.
Yes.
Mayhaw.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Morse.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Pritchard.
Yes.
Stroll.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Wood. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Move on to item 8, which is discussion and vote to approve the following items. Item A, supplemental engineering agreement for 087-334 in rural township, estimated cost of $18,049.30, 100% to be paid through Township Bridge Program Fund. And item B, a 50-50 petition from Herrick Township Highway Commissioner to replace a failing CMP pipe with a 72-inch by 50-foot long CMP on 740 East, north of CH13. Estimated cost will be $14,760, split 50-50 between the county and the township. Have a motion on these items, please. Ms. Matlock, have a second. Mr. Stroll, you're up.
Thank you, sir. So item A is for a supplemental engineering agreement as discussed. In rural township, it is a bridge that is most of the way designed already. It sat stagnant for a number of years due to a right-of-way issue. We were able to overcome that issue. We'd like to progress to be able to get that bridge reconstructed. $18,000 is to get things up to date because of it sitting for so long. New policies, new standards need to be updated, and basically this is getting it up to date. So that is 8A, and 8B is a 50-50 township and Herrick. That is, the pipe is getting very bad and going to fail sometime soon. We'd like to replace it before it does. So, any questions regarding those?
Questions or discussion? Mr. Tappendorf in general?
I just want to say thank you because safe roads.
Ma'am.
Sorry.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Thanks, Mr. Tappendorf. Roll call vote, please.
Brown.
Yes.
Cole. Edwards.
Yes.
Gregg.
Yes.
Hardy.
Yes.
Matlock.
Yes.
Mayhaw.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Morse.
Yes.
Price.
Yes.
Pritchard.
Yes.
Stroll.
Yes.
Tate.
Yes.
Wofford.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Move on to item 9, discussion and vote on ARPA obligation and payments to recode miscoded ARPA payments. Have a motion on this item, please. Ms. Wood, have a second.
I'll second.
Ms. Edwards on the second. Treasurer Fernhamer.
I sent you all a list, but we've had some payments that were paid out of ARPA that were not on contracts that were reported to the federal government in the portal last April. I sent you the updated list today. One of them, the sheriff has given me the line item to recode that payment. Probation Heather Wade has given me a line item to recode a payment that was a little bit over what had been obligated in the portal. But the other payments, the Christian Shelby JETSB, the Text My Government, and the 2 performance services payments, those were not reported to the federal portal last year, so they need to be recoded, reclassed. I would assume the general fund, and we have payments for the auditors, and the audit contracts were reported to the federal government, and some of those payments have been paid out of the general fund and would need to be reclassed to be paid out of ARPA, so that I can complete the reporting to the federal government by April 30th. The portal closes May 1st, so time is an issue.
Okay. Any questions, discussion? Yes, ma'am.
What do you have as the available monies in ARPA right now, as of today?
$117.
Okay, I have questions. This is kind of an ongoing process, and I've said before, and I'll say it again. It doesn't matter who did the job, it was ill-fated from the get-go. There was no direction. You got no direction. Other treasurers got no direction. It was a moving target from the get-go. They changed the rules on what you could spend it for, et cetera, so it made it difficult. And really, nobody had ever done this before, so it was, you had to figure out as you went along.
Actually, the county taxpayers paid Bellwether $20,000 to advise the county, and they've done a fantastic job doing what taxpayers paid them to do.
Right.
They've given us
But
a lot.
this ARPA situation had not happened before. So it was kind of, let's just say it was probably ill-planned. It could have been planned better. My question to you is, we have emails we get from you. The first one is from 2/26 of 26. 63,000 remaining in ARPA. Printed on the same day, 65,000. Then we have 11709. Then we have an email where you asked to get a meeting tonight. And Tad said, explain more about the miscoding, who coded them, that sort of thing. Then on the 7th, in our packet, we got remaining before recode, $223,290.20. And remaining after recode, $331,516.07. Then at 3:20 today, we saw some performance services payments. And about 25 minutes later, we saw the same report with an indication it was a $9,000 change. The $9,000 didn't come across somehow. But I have taken time to review what was turned into the federal government. And although we approved performance services by the end of 24 with a contract, with a vote, it didn't show up on the report.
I was never provided that contract.
Okay, here's the deal, Erica. You're an adult, you're a professional. You work in the same building that we all come and go from every meeting. You knew with the previous board where this meeting room was. You know the time, you know what's on the agenda. It's not a secret that this is where the meetings happen, and you always know what date and time these are. I've asked you repeatedly, other board members have asked you questions. And then we get numbers that are off $300,000 in 6 weeks. So you can say you didn't get the contract, but we voted on it. The contracts were signed.
It was not my job or my responsibility to chase it down. On January 14th of 25, I sent Chad Manhall an email and said, I've received no documentation for ARPA money that was contracted. I have to provide signed copies of all contracts, as well as meeting minutes where monies were voted on. I cannot provide the correct ARPA reports to the federal government, nor updated reports to the board without the appropriate documentation. Please provide all signed documents and approved meeting minutes as soon as possible. I didn't start receiving a lot of those until early April, and then a lot of the stuff that was turned over to me was not signed, and so it got returned to various department heads, and then I got it returned to me with all of a sudden it was signed, which fine, great, it's signed, then it becomes an obligation. On April 25th, I received the 2 audit contracts from the county clerk, who she was requested to send it to me when the report had to be in the portal by the 30th. So, I mean,
So you're saying you're not responsible for anything, for looking for anything ever, that we have to deliver it to one hand? Is that what you're saying?
It's a simple email, attach, and send. And there were some department heads that it was absolutely not a problem at all. If they had projects, they sent me the documentation. So, we can sit here and we can argue this is the exact reason that audits in Shelby County are behind, is because we can't send emails when somebody requests documentation.
I think I've requested documentation more than a couple times.
Yes, Christine, you did request a lot of documentation from me. I'm not the keeper of the county records. And I think this is a lot of the problem, is you seem to be extremely confused about the responsibility of the county clerk, the county treasurer, and what the county board's responsibility is. It was not my responsibility to budget nor spend ARPA. It was simply my responsibility to work with Bellwether to report to the federal portal.
And Susan,
So-
who signs that signature at the bottom of that federal portal? Who signs that? Who's the last person?
Me.
That's you, that's right.
Yeah.
Who signs the second signature on those checks that you got a report from Jessica every time?
The
that she
state's
paid us?
attorney sent out an email.
No, answer the question,
Okay,
please.
okay, back on point, please.
Let me just read for the public record. I have it here. And I think I should, if you haven't been informed, I did file a complaint with the state's attorney for retaliation for whistleblower because I'm tired of being harassed, and I've been harassed. Yesterday, the state's attorney sent the full board an email, and I'll read it for the public record. Because of harassment from Christine Matlock,
This is not germane. to this
yelling at
topic.
me, excuse me, I'm going to finish.
Actually, this is my time.
I was speaking and I'm
But
going to
does
finish.
this have to do with the agenda item, Ms. Furman?
Yes, it does. Because she
Okay.
has accused me of not turning over documentation. I can't turn over something I don't have. And then I'm accused of I should have known because my name goes on a check. The state's attorney sent out a
Mr. Chair,
letter to the
point of
full
order.
board.
This is
And-
about checks that the state's attorney sent out. This is not germane to
Yes, it is
ARPA.
germane because she just accused me
But this is,
of,
to be
I'm
fair-
going to read
be
this
fair, I don't mind
letter.
reading
I'm
it for
speaking.
you. I don't mind reading it for you if you would like to get it out there in a different spot. I'll even read it as.
No, because I'm the one that requested the agenda item for
But what you're about to read, I read, is not related to ARPA.
She
Ms.
just
Fernhaber,
accused
no,
me in
no.
public of various things in my name
But
going
that
on a
fight,
check.
this
So
agenda item has to do with ARPA
I am
allegations.
going to read in the public record because my name does go on a
I'll
check.
read it for correspondence.
No, I will read it right now because this is my agenda item and I will speak.
Okay, but for the
You
record,
are
it has nothing to
denying
do with
me my
ARPA.
right to speak.
No, I'm
I'm going to
saying
speak.
in line with what the agenda item has to do,
I am
which has
sending
nothing
this-
to do with ARPA.
This was sent from the state's attorney to the county clerk, to myself, to you as the board chair, to Teresa Bain as the vice chair, and to the full county board. I'm sending this to everyone so that we are all on the same page. The county procedure for processing claims and cutting checks is this. The county board approves a budget. Claims are submitted by the respective departments to the county clerk's office. The county board reviews and approves those claims. And once approved, checks are processed, signed, and mailed. The only people reviewing claims are the county clerk when the claims are received and the checks are written, the county board when the claims are approved. And to be more specific, that would be the finance committee that first reviews them and approves them, which Christine Matlock is on, and then they're approved at each county board meeting by the full board. Then my name gets stamped on them, and they return to the clerk, and the clerk mails them out. Neither the treasurer nor the county clerk have authority over the spending of another elected official's budget after that budget has been approved by the county board. If the board wants to change the current process, they can look into doing that. But as it stands, the board approves the board approves the line items in the budget. The departments submit the claims. The claims are reviewed by the county clerk and county board, and checks are cut. The treasurer is required to receive and disperse funds, and countersigned checks is required by the bank and county code. That's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Sincerely, Ruth A. Woolery.
Can you tell me where the ARPA part was in that?
She just accused me and has accused me and harassed me in many emails of that I should have known what claims were paid out of ARPA. I don't see claims. I don't know who was paid out of ARPA. I get a report, and that report tells me I need to transfer this much money from ARPA to general fund to cover claims. I need to transfer this much money from probation to general fund. From any fund that we have to the general fund so that the AP claim checks are covered when they hit the bank. That's my job, that's my responsibility. I don't see claims. I don't know who's paid. I simply transfer the money.
As a reminder, item 9 is discussion and vote on ARPA obligation and payments to RECO, MISCO, and ARPA payments. So can you clarify what it is that we're moving on these reports?
Well, I just said earlier that these payments, the payment to Christian Shelby JTSB, that contract was not reported to the federal government. Text My Government was not reported, and the 2 performance services contract. And then I put down there payments that have been paid to the auditors that were coded out of the general fund could be recoded to ARPA so that, you know, we get the ARPA money spent the way it was obligated to be spent. And then we have some payroll that needs to be coded or covered as well.
Yeah, in all fairness, I'm still trying to understand the spreadsheet or the document. The items on the left side are what you're moving, or the ones recoded on the right side.
The list that I just read to you on the left, and then there's the total. Some of these payments were made in fiscal year 25. I've listed those there. The sheriff that he already gave me the line item, the $33,590 was paid in fiscal year 25. It will need to be recoded out of the fiscal year 25 budget. Text My Government was out of the 25 budget. It will need to be recoded out of a fiscal year 25 budget line item. The performance services payments were paid in fiscal year 26. They will need to be recoded out of the fiscal year 26 budget. And then the totals are there. It'll be $44,441.07 out of the 25 fiscal year, $779.30 out of fiscal year 26. It's the same scenario there with the audits. Total to be reclassed $138,480.70, $39,000 of that in fiscal year 25. Fiscal year 26 is going to be the $99,480.70. $9,000 of that is actually being paid tonight out of the general fund, and that will be reported next year to the federal portal. And then the $10,500 in fiscal year 25 for ARPA payroll, $2,000 so far in fiscal year 26. Moving forward, the sheriff's lump sum payments for ARPA need to be coded correctly.
And again, just because I asked an email, not answered, these were coded by which office?
They're coded in the clerk's office. She's the accounts payable and payroll.
I received nothing for payroll regarding ARPA. And we discussed the audit claims.
Any other questions, sir?
I would like to see a forensic audit of ARPA with the problems and the discrepancies, and then with having these miscoded, and codes have to be changed.
Yes, please. I've requested a forensic audit in my office for 2-3 years now, and I haven't received it. I've requested it numerous times. I've welcomed it and asked for ARPA money to be spent to do a forensic audit in my office because of all the false accusations that have gone on, and that wasn't granted. So I would more than welcome a forensic audit of the ARPA money. It would be great.
I would like to say that was just alarming. Board member Matlock was given free rein to say what she wanted to say. Treasurer Fernhaber was not. Clear bias. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, thank you.
I have one question about the ARPA and the balances. Can you explain why the differences of the numbers? Is there a clear explanation?
Yeah, because it's a constant working on it, and when I request, invoices and look through the reports, it's constantly changing. And I was working with Bellwether today, And the last one that I changed was because if I had $99,480 under fiscal year '26, but 9,000 of that that's being approved tonight will actually go on the '27 report. So the other page that had the totals, the one prior to that, which now has, because it's the expenditures for '26, $249,263.70. If you all choose to reclass this, prior to that, I had it 9,000 higher because it actually won't get reported until '27. Simple explanation, but if you could all see the amount of paper that I received with no organization to it and constantly trying to put it together and make sure that everything's the way it should be, it's a moving target. And in working with Chris, I was finally able to speak with Bellwether this afternoon, late this afternoon, and we were working on it, going through it, both sets of eyes, to try to get as much information settled to make sure that stuff got done tonight. Because again, we're in a timeline. I sure would hate to see the county have to pay back $4 million because we can't follow rules and report in a timely fashion.
And it's just confusing when you see a number and then the next week it's, way different, so.
Well, I mean, there were numbers there. The bank account's been 117, but you all get the ARPA fund 066, you get every month. Every month with the treasurer's reports. If you go down that 90-page report, the 066 ARPA, had the running total. So you've gotten the reports, the information's there. Nobody ever asked me a question about it or why numbers were here or there. So I assumed everybody knew what they were looking at.
And would you be, if somebody had a question, if I would come in and say, hey, can you explain how this got from here to here, I could sit down and ask those questions with you?
I would. I mean, it's simple. It's the expenditures that are paid.
But you would sit down and,
sure.
And if I just
Absolutely.
say, hey, I'm having trouble figuring out how to from here to
Absolutely.
here, you would explain that, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This performance services, was there a contract for performance services? Can anybody answer that?
Sheriff is here, but yes.
Yeah, we signed a contract with Performance Services.
Any other questions? Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Tom, real quick, can you clarify what we're voting on?
I really wish I could.
Like, are we voting to allow the treasurer to move the funds?
She's saying
No,
that she
the county
consulted
board
with...
will have to provide the line item in the fiscal year '25 budget and the '26 budget. In our office, we don't reclass any expenditure, just like the sheriff has provided me the line item. I've got that email. Heather Wade has provided it. Anytime we reclass any money in a budget, we have it in writing with a request from the department head or whoever's in charge of that fund before we touch a thing. So the county board, you all will have to, once you vote to reclass, recode, you need to provide the line items to the treasurer's office of each of these payments, and in that budget, what line item you want it coded to in that budget.
So a yes vote is saying we're giving permission to reclass the codes.
Yes.
And a no vote says, no, we are not going to allow the codes to be reclassed.
And if you don't, then you have to figure out with this other report where you're going to take money away from with the projects that have been reported to the federal government, which covered the $4.2+ million that we received. It was all obligated to the Treasury. If you're choosing to not recode and use contracts that were not reported, then you have to tell me what we're going to take money away from, what it's going to go to, and we'll have to amend the report that we filed last year.
Okay, I just wasn't sure what a yes or no vote meant on anything.
Can I ask a question? So in essence, if we vote no, we have the option to take monies from, let's say, the general fund and pay those people because we signed contracts with them.
They're paid, they've been paid.
Can I finish? We signed contracts with these people. Performance services was over $500,000. They've been paid about $200,000. We owe them roughly $300,000 off the top of my head. These people will be paid. That is our job. We don't have to like it. We don't have to argue about ARPA to get it done. It has to be done. So if we vote no, we can as a group determine if we're going to take money from the general fund, from a general fund CD, which we have the money, to make sure these people get paid. Is that correct?
I pause because I don't know if I can answer the question.
I know.
So, up to this point, it's my understanding, I mean, we haven't fulfilled the full obligation with performative services. So they still have work to be done. Money's to be paid, but these other vendors' projects have been paid. So they've not been paid. You're shaking your head, so we're trying to understand.
I mean, the other spreadsheet there, in what we've reported, we're still gonna have $5,000 for the highway engineer salary that is gonna need to be paid out of ARPA money on 9/1/26. That was a contract that you've had. The report for the courthouse upgrades, carpets and blinds, that was obligated by the board. There's still $6,066.52 that's not been spent on that project. Computer equipment for the sheriff for a service antenna, there's $80 that was obligated out of that project that's not been paid. Don't know if that one's done, and that $80 can go down to the audit expense or wherever you choose to put it. Deep clean the courthouse. The board obligated $29,750. We've paid $8,100. I have no idea if you intend to spend the $21,650, but if you don't, we can move that to the line item for audit expense. And then in the payroll for the rest of 26, because this all has to be spent by 12/31 of 26, the sheriff still has $7,500 lump sum to pay employees under the MOU for the union contract. I don't know if he intends to pay his employees that out of ARPA. If not, it's out of the general fund. I really couldn't care less. But nonetheless, whatever you decide to do with that money, if you don't want to spend that, that can either be put into the line item for the audit expenses. And the bottom line is whether you pay the audit contractors or whether you pay performance services, it's general fund money. It's general fund money. But if you choose that all of a sudden you're going to pay performance services with the remainder, which we don't have ARPA money left, and you were told to over-obligate it in case invoices didn't come in by 12/31/26, projects didn't get completed by 12/31/26, so that the $4.2+ million was spent. You obligated it. It's obligated. And there was a contract that I just received last week that I had never seen, but the audit expenses that were reported in the federal portal will more than deplete the ARPA money. I mean, there was only so much. And whether you take money out of the general fund to pay the auditors or whether you take it out of the general fund to pay performance services, I mean, it really doesn't matter. Because there's only so much ARPA money, and when it's gone, it's gone.
We do have through the end of 26 reporting year, which is March 31st, or actually it's April 30th of 27, to amend. We could vote no, we could use the general fund and amend what we need to amend later this year before the reporting next spring.
We have to amend it by April 30th of this year.
I'm going to use one example just to see if I can get everybody to understand, because I'm still sure there's confusion on this. I'm going to use the sheriff as an example because we aren't paying payroll expenses anymore with ARPA. I'm going to try and break this down in the simplest terms to make sure we're all on the same page. So this shows that you have $7,500 left that was obligated that likely will not be spent. Is that correct? I guess between the two of you, is that?
That's a sheriff question.
I'm asking for the definition of your spreadsheet.
He submitted it to Jessica last year, and the MOU for ARPA had those amounts in it. I don't know what he intends to do. He's either going to pay it out of the general fund and it's going to be reimbursed through ARPA, but it's what we reported in the federal portal.
On this example, and you highlighted $7,500 on your report. For this example, what is the proposal that's going to happen with that $7,500? What is that number's there on your report. What is it that you intend to do with that money?
What's your intent to do with that money?
I'm asking, I want to clarify. I mean, I can't stick the landing on this because it's incredibly confusing. This money was obligated for that line, correct?
Now, was this after the stop of the ARPA money? Did we submit the claim as ARPA? Was it coded as ARPA?
For payroll?
Yes.
I don't know. Liz said she saw nothing that said ARPA for the bonuses, those bonuses.
I think those bonuses were paid out of my budget.
That's what I thought they were too.
Correct.
But they were submitted to me last year with this list that said this is what would be paid for the MOU that had been settled out of ARPA, that were going to be paid out of ARPA. So this is what was reported to the federal government, because that was what was given to me to report in last year's reporting.
Yeah, the last bonuses that were paid, I think, came out of my budget, not the money.
But I'm saying, you submitted to me that it was going to be paid out of ARPA, and this is what I reported to the federal government. So if you don't intend to, we can take it out of that line item and we can move it over to the audit. This is what was submitted to me to pay out of ARPA.
So then, is that what you're saying by recoding? By doing that, taking the money from the sheriff's bonuses and putting it in something else? Is that what you're calling recoding it?
Yeah, I'm saying this was under just payroll, put out of the budget, but I was told that it was going to be reimbursed with
ARPA.
The payroll. The general fund, is reimbursed, and so that's what we did with, the ungodly amount that we did with all the payroll with ARPA was reimburse it once it went through the payroll. This is what I was given, and this is what I reported to the federal portal. So I don't know what you want to do.
Quick question, just so I understand, when you're talking recoding, you want to basically kind of like rename it?
No.
Put
It
it
has
in a
to go
different
from
fund?
one line item to another. With payroll, it simply gets reclassed. There were pay types in payroll that were specifically ARPA, so that reports could be given to the federal government that this was ARPA. You had to keep ARPA separate, ARPA payroll payments separate from just general payroll, which we always did. And then the reports would be given, and we, in the treasurer's office, would reimburse the general fund for any ARPA payroll payment. With the recode of these other payments, like some of the audit payments were coded to general fund 001029, and then whatever the audit expense is. If it should have been covered by ARPA, it just simply gets reclassed from that general fund 001029 and whatever the last 5 digits to the 066061, and the project line item number is 50560. When we reclass, recode, then, and it shows up. I mean, if you print a report, the auditors see it. I just have the auditors, and in any audit we've ever done, they look for reclasses, and then we have to provide them the documentation as to why it was reclassed, what it's reclassed for, which we can always do. But it just gets reclassed from a general fund to an ARPA account, or from the ARPA back over here. But we have the documentation to provide to the federal government what we already told them we were going to be spending it on. And I will add that, Tad Mayhaw was on those emails, and I sent them out to the full board earlier this week. The guidance that we got from Bellwether this time last year when we had to prove the obligated, which they were very clear that it had to be, it wasn't board action, it was signed contracts, MOUs, purchase orders, or such. I forgot what I was going to say, but it had to be clear, and the Bellwether sent to us the language out of the Treasury was they are going to vigorously, not my words, theirs, review how these obligations are and expenditures. Chris with Bellwether and I worked, pretty hard, making sure that we dotted every I, crossed every T, so that Shelby County wouldn't get in trouble. We reported what was given to me, so it's the only thing I can do.
So to be compliant, then do we need to recode these?
If we are going to stay compliant with what was reported to the portal last April, yes.
Okay.
Because we reported the audit, I was given the signed audit contracts on April 25th. So Chris and I reworked the report. I filed the report on April 28th of last year. There's more than enough because those Sickich audits and Lauterbach total was, Sickich itself was $315,000, Lauterbach was $290,000. What we put in that line item originally that was $217,939 and some change was because that came in last. So we put in that project what was remaining of ARPA money to be spent. So the reason this changed, Tricia, is because, and it went to $281,000, was because in the payroll line item, which I had sent multiple emails requesting when is the contract going to be figured out, when are we going to stop paying? Because in April of last year, we were still paying the ARPA premium pay to union and non-union employees in the courthouse, in the county. FOP had already settled their contract, theirs was done, other than the MOU that covered these lump sum payments. No one could give me direction as to when that AFSCME contract was going to be signed. When the AFSCME contract was going to be signed, the other employees were going to be done receiving it. That happened sometime in April. So that line item under payroll of 2025, which was at $122,000 some odd dollars, was because at that point we were just estimating out to 12, 21, and 26 because I didn't have any clue when it was going to end. I could only estimate based on how much each payroll was. Because it ended and we are no longer paying that, that was 122. We actually moved 63,000 and some odd dollars. I don't remember the other amount because we're no longer going to pay that. It's no longer obligated under that line item. We moved that $63,000+ down to the $217,939 and some change, which makes that total $281,069, which is what I'm saying again in that, there's $1,693 up in the state's attorney in that project. These projects, I don't know what's going on with the deep clean, but it can be moved to something that's already been obligated in the federal portal. We have more than enough money in the Lauterbach and Sickich contracts. ARPA's gone. I mean, when we make these changes, if you all decide to make these changes, we're going to have somewhere around $73,796 left. I mean, it's a moving target until we actually make those changes. I'm not going to guarantee any specific amount of money, bless you, but it's somewhere around there. I guarantee you're going to spend $73,000+ on auditors this year, and the money's gone. It's gone.
Are there any accounts that are not allocated?
Ma'am.
Sorry.
Yes, sorry, Mr. Question.
So bottom line is, we need to recode this for all the numbers been thrown around. Bottom line is, we need to have it recoded to make our obligation to the federal government work out right. That's the bottom line.
Pretty much.
And so all the other stuff we've been talking about for 30 minutes means nothing.
Absolutely nothing,
Okay. So,
other than it's just more work for everybody.
so the bottom line is we just need to have stuff recoded so it gets obligated to cover our butts with the federal government.
Yeah, it needs recoded to fulfill the obligation that we've already reported.
But what I'm hearing is just our vote tonight won't satisfy what you need to do that.
Well, and you vote to recode them, and then
What does it need after that?
I need somebody, whether it's the budget and legislative, to give me the line items that you're gonna move it to. In the 25 fiscal year budget and the 26 fiscal year budget. I need the line items. I need something in writing before I reclass it, because when the auditors do ask for it, we hand them the documentation where this department, so I won't move them until I have that documentation. But before we could even go there, we just needed to get approval to go.
When the board in November was given the number of how much they had to obligate, was that a number that we knew how much ARPA funds we had at that point? When they voted, they were given a $1.6 million figure to obligate.
Now, at that point, whenever that happened, y'all were told to over-obligate, which when I talked to the state's attorney about this a couple weeks ago, she's like, they were told to over-obligate. I said, thank you. I know that. But again, over-obligate because A, we didn't know when payroll was going to stop. So had you not obligated more, or the $122,000, you wouldn't have had something to put in there. But again, Bellwether advised, we obligated that, we're not going to use it, that can go to another line. You know, that was a process, that was not my job. It was not my responsibility to obligate. It's my responsibility to report. You were told to over-obligate, again, so that in case, you know, bills weren't paid by the end of this year. And
but you did provide the $1.6 million number. When you were asked, it was $1.6 million that you gave to the board to say this is roughly what we have.
That could have been where we were that day. Every month that we pay bills, that amount changes.
And was that explained at that time? Because I wasn't, when they obligated, I did not, I don't remember seeing.
Any question I've ever been asked about ARPA, I've done my best to answer the question. So
the 1.6, if you gave them 1.6 for that obligation, 2 weeks later it could have been down to 1.2.
And if there was a county board meeting and we paid bills, absolutely. And at that point, we were paying payroll, so that was a moving target. There were bonuses that were paid, and you know, payroll being paid out of that, or you know, the various other out of this here. I mean, we have spent $4.2 million. So every single board meeting, when you all approve the claims, which again, I don't see claims. All I get is a final number. This is what you need to transfer from the ARPA fund to the general fund to pay the bills. The finance committee and the board and the clerk see those claims. I don't see the claims. Once we transfer whatever amount from ARPA to the general fund, but they're coded. I mean, the clerk's office codes any ARPA payment 066. That's what kicks out the report so that we know how much money to transfer to the general fund. Just like if I'm going to transfer out of probation, or I'm going to transfer out of the highway department, any of those funds. Whatever's coded in the clerk's office, approved by the finance committee, approved by the full board, Friday morning, we get that report and we start transferring money. And again, you know, there's 56 funds in this county. So, I mean, that's a moving target every month, every single month. So if a number was given at 1.6 million, But then there was a county board meeting a week later, and we spent $500,000, that's down to $1.1 million. I mean, I'd have to go back and look and see when bills were paid, but that's the way it works.
Mike, call for the question. Vote's been called. Roll call vote, please.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes. Yes.
Hardy?
Yes.
Matlock?
No.
Mayhaw?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Price?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Stroll?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Wofford?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes. Motion passes. 14 ayes, 1 nay, Matlock.
Move on to item 10, discussion of vote to reappoint Walter Cox to Gary Poole to the Ethics Commission for a 2-year term on recommendation of the State's Attorney's Office. A motion on this item, please. Mr. Gregg, back, second by Mr. Morse. Any questions?
I have a question. Do we have those affidavits? If you look at the code, it does say they're hereby created a commission to be, I'm sorry, I can't, known as the Ethics Commission of County of Shelby. The commission shall be comprised of 3 members appointed by the chairman of the Shelby County Board with the advice and consent of the Shelby County Board. No person shall be appointed as a member of the commission who is related, either by blood or marriage, up to the degree of the first cousin to any elected officer of the County of Shelby. No more than 2 members of the commission shall belong to the same political party at the same time such appointments are made. Party affiliation shall be determined by an affidavit of the person appointed. So I mean, no problem with either one of these people being appointed, but do we have the affidavit? Because if not, I feel like we probably should table this until we do.
I'm not aware of an affidavit, no.
Because we're going to be appointing something out of compliance for the Ethics Committee.
Well, I mean,
if that's not the definition of irony, I don't know what is.
I don't know that there's any, I don't know that that was provided for now.
So maybe we table this, take it back to Ruth, get her to have those affidavits done.
And really, because we don't have, I spoke to Tammy Smith today, we don't have the Democrat one. We don't have a name yet. We're kind of at a standstill anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they should.
But, you know.
If I have this, if anybody needs it, I mean, I can email it to the full board, the whole. But yeah, I think we should table it. I don't like to table things, but I'm going to make a motion that we table this.
I'll second the motion.
There's been a motion, may I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Abstain. All right, move on to item 11, which is committee reports. Anybody else have any updates through their committees? Yes, sir.
Just a couple of things. We did have a couple of bids for a vehicle for the sheriff's department, and we received, we awarded that to the highest bidder out of 2 bidders. So we moved that vehicle. The Olds Bravada that's been around for a while, we did not catch a bid a second time. We voted to bid it out one last time and try to make it more public. There is not a minimum bid on this vehicle at all, and it is a running vehicle, and we can't catch a dollar bid on this vehicle. So we're going to try to do a better job of, putting it on Facebook or whatever and getting the word out more than just a little thing in the newspaper. But we're going to try it one more time to bid that vehicle out.
Thank you. Any other committee updates?
The Board of Health met last week. The health department was able to secure a grant for a new generator, It's going to provide more power to all of it, and it will also cover the air conditioning unit at the health department if the power goes out. The one that they have currently now will do the heat and the basic electricity, but it's not big enough to power the air conditioner. So they secured this grant, they're getting this new generator, and they're also going to send, part of the company that's going to install it is going to move the old generator to animal control. So now animal control is going to have a generator in the event of an electrical. So it's good that we were able to reuse something rather than just let it go to waste, to scrap. So congratulations to Steve and Angela for working together on that.
Yeah, I think I got the email today that said they were going to be able to get that moved, so. All right, so for the budget audit legislative committee, we did meet here, might have been early last week, to discuss a couple of things. One being the single audit for fiscal year 23. We had an item on there to discuss and vote to send it to the board. I was advised by the auditors we didn't need to send it to the full board for approval. So there wasn't anything taken, but the findings in the single audit as well as the findings in the full fiscal year 23 audit were divided up amongst some of the committee members. Couple of the findings here were grant administration, which was also quite a few of the findings in the single audit will be worked on. The outstanding check write-off policy, capital asset policy, fund balance policy, and the funds over budget. So the committee will they've been divided up. It wouldn't surprise me if one of the committee members assigned reaches out to another board member to assist in this, just for familiarity with the process as well as some additional insight and to help pick up on some of the heavy lifting, because some of these might take a little bit to build. So we have committed to getting policies written where we were requested to write policies and investigate the things that we were requested to investigate. But I will work with the clerk and we'll get the single audit out to the full board to review as well and get it published out there. And I believe it's being put into the portal. So any other questions or comments on committee reports? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item 12, chairman appointments. They are as follows: Cooperative Extension Committee for a 1-year term for Christine Matlock, as well as a 1-year term for James Mitchell, and a 1-year term for Tim Morse. And for Shelbyville Fire, Penny Stanifer, trustee for a 3-year term by resolution. Tower Hill Fire, Michael Noren, trustee for a 3-year term by resolution. Kind of a motion on these items, please. Mr. Gray in the back, second. Mr. Price, any questions, discussions on the appointments? Yes.
I'd like to discuss my friend Jim Mitchell. He is a friend. I have nothing against Jim, but he's never here. He's been on the board, I believe, for about a year. And again, I'm not mad at Jim. I hold nothing against him, but he's never here at the board meeting, so I have to ask, how active is he going to be on the Cooperative Extension Committee?
I don't know how involved he's been on the committee at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Seeing none.
Are we voting for all of them or one at a time?
All.
Okay.
Do you want to pull one out and vote on it separately?
I guess I'll vote no for all of them if that's how we're voting.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Motion passes. Chairman updates and correspondence. Okay. Move on. Any old business? Move on to item 15, approval of the claims. Do I have a motion to approve claims, please? Ms. Wood, Mr. Pritchard. Anything from finance? Ms. Baines not here.
Just a quick question. Have the checks been signed already?
Thank you. Anything else? No?
It's all good.
Great. Anybody? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole? Edwards?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Hardy?
Yes.
Matlock?
Yes.
Mayhaw?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Price?
Yes.
Pritchard?
Yes.
Stroll?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Move on to item 16, public body comment. Public body comment.
Yeah, Chairman, I'll ask one more time, are you willing to acknowledge whether you did or did not issue an endorsement letter using the county seal? I'm willing to acknowledge yes or no? Are you ever going to answer my FOIA request?
Thought you only got to comment one time.
Two public comments on the agenda item. I'm addressing it under the second, was recognized by the county chair, correct? Appreciate your non-response, Chairman. Expected.
You done?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wonder if anybody's heard, there's some legislators talking about passing a bill that renewable energies can raise their rates without a cap. And they're thinking about putting that into law. That's something to think about, you know, when we think about most like CIPS or anybody else, they can only like 2 or 3%. And these guys are going to get to raise their rates any amount they want if this is passed. It doesn't sound very good. Anyway. I'm done.
Good. Public body comment. Public body comment. Public body comment. Move on to 17, motion to adjourn. Matlock, Mr. Miller, all those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned at 8:11.
Well, I was thinking
Yeah, and I have nothing, maybe he's got some stuff going on, I get it. It's never good. And I guess he's still on the board. They called roll.